Today, we are going to be building the build-it-yourself memory box. Hi everyone, my name is John and thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to be building the build-it-yourself memory box. Feel free to follow along and pause, rewind, or even skip parts as needed. All the different steps are split into chapters found in the video timeline. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to talk to you about the importance of safety. When we work with or around tools, we need to be very careful to show respect for potential hazards and take our work very seriously. Safety glasses must be worn. You only get two eyes, and these will make sure you get to keep them. Building stuff is fun, but if you get hurt, the fun is over. Please have fun, but take safety seriously. Let's talk about the tools you will need to complete this project. Again, remember, you're gonna need your safety glasses. You will also most definitely need a hammer. Helps to hammer in the nails. You're gonna need some glue. You'll also need something to help spread the glue. I like to use a popsicle stick. You can use your finger, you can use a paintbrush. It is also helpful to have a piece of paper towel. You'll also need a Phillips head screwdriver. You know it's a Phillips head screwdriver because the tip is in the shape of a star or even a plus sign. With this project, you'll need a couple extra things. One is a tape measure. We've included one in your kit. You'll also need a pencil. When we use our tape measure, we're gonna need to make some markings to be able to find out exactly where we need to put things. And these are all the tools that you'll need to build your kit. Before we get started, I'd like to talk about a few very important terms, things that we'll need to know as we start building our project. One of the first terms that I'd like to talk about is something called a stopped dado. And this is a type of wood joint. A groove is cut into the wood, but it doesn't go all the way through the workpiece. It's like a groove with a dead end on one side. We also have something called a blind dado. And this is a type of wood joint where a groove is cut into the wood just like this, but it doesn't go all the way through the workpiece on either side. It's like a groove with two dead ends. Let's get started. We're gonna use nails and glue to attach our front piece and our back piece to side A, or one of the side pieces. This side piece has a stop dado. Make sure that when we attach the top of the front and back pieces, they are aligned with the top of the side pieces. So what we're gonna do is first, we'll start with throwing a little bit of glue inside this stop dado. Now we wanna make sure when we've put this glue in here that we spread it around really well. We wanna make sure that all the parts of the wood that contact the other piece of the wood, that making that connection, that they're completely covered. This will create the strongest connection for both of your pieces and your overall project. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just hold this up on end, like that. Now, I will tell you that sometimes this can be hard to balance. So if you need a clamp to be able to hold this in place, like this, or you can even get a friend and they can hold this while you hammer. Okay, I'm gonna grab my hammer and my nails. Place one of the nails inside the pre-drilled holes. These pre-drilled holes are great. They help to place the nails in the perfect spot, and they also help to save my fingers as I try to nail. All right. Okay, sometimes you might bend a nail, and that's okay. If you do bend a nail, you can try to straighten it out and get it all the way in, but there's a bit of a risk that you'll bend it even further and start to hit it right into the wood there, and it'll make kind of a mess. It might be a good idea to pull the nail out and start with a fresh one. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and hammer this nail partially in there and then bend it over on purpose. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you how to take it out. Real easy. You can see the nails bent over there. I'm gonna take my claw hammer, and you can see that the back of the hammer here has a claw. This claw is really special, and it's actually meant to take out these nails. If I take my claw and I slide my nail between those two claws there, use leverage to easily pull that nail out, and it comes out just like that. Now we can get rid of that nail and grab a new one. Let's get going. All right. Okay, I've got my first side on there. Let's do the other side, or the back. All right. You can call it the back or the front, doesn't really matter. Alrighty. I'm gonna take my other piece there. Again, I wanna make sure that it's aligned with the top of the side. And let's get a couple more nails in. I'm gonna go ahead and get my second nail in this side. So now we've got the front and back attached to our side. Let's move on to put the other side on the project. All right, here we go. We've got our other side. We're gonna go ahead, get some glue in that other side. Making sure to get glue everywhere within that stopped dado. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and insert my front and back piece there. Align them with the top of the sides. There we go. And I can get 2 more nails in. Actually, I can get 4 nails in. Okay, it looks like we have the middle assembly of our memory box complete. Let's move on and attach our bottom. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just place our center assembly inside our bottom. We're gonna dry fit this just to make sure it fits. So what that means, dry fit means that we're going to place or assemble our project without glue or nails, just to make sure that everything fits properly and that we've got a good fit. Let's get some glue inside of our joints. Does anybody remember what the name of this joint is? If you said blind dado, you are correct. Good job. All right, we'll get them. We make sure we spread it out all over that blind dado. It's actually skill to be able to get just enough glue to cover your blind dados or your joints without having it spill all over the place. I'm going to place my center assembly inside the blind dados. Make sure everything's nice and snug and the center assembly is centered with the same amount of spacing on each side of the bottom piece there. Now I can flip it over and I'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more pre-drilled holes. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab some nails and I'm gonna hammer those in. Excellent. Now we've got our center assembly and our bottom assembled. Let's move on. Okay, let's use nails and glue and attach our hinges to the top piece. We're gonna put them right inside those 2 stopped dados. We need to make sure that when we take our hinges, that we align the hinges with the sides of the back piece. The back of the hinge will be aligned with the back of that side piece right there. Okay, a little bit of glue in these stop dados. Okay, we'll get the first one in. Aligning that back part of the hinge there. And we're gonna grab 2 nails, and these 2 nails are going to be nailed in through the bottom part of that hinge. Okay, we've got one hinge on. Let's get the other hinge on. We can add glue to the other stop dado. Grabbing our hinge and once again aligning the back of that hinge. Grab a couple nails. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our screwdriver and the provided screws to attach the picture holding hardware. So we've got 4 holes that are pre-drilled into the bottom of our top piece. We're gonna take our picture holding hardware and we're gonna place it centered over top of the hole. And we're gonna go ahead and screw that in. Now make sure that you don't tighten these screws too much for 2 reasons. One, we don't want to strip out the hole. So what happens if I take my screw and I keep screwing, all right, and I turn that screw a little too far, it'll actually dig that wood out of the hole and the screw won't be able to hold anymore. The other reason that we don't want to do that, or we don't want to have them too tight, is because these little tabs are meant to swing. We want them to swing. We're gonna go ahead and screw in these screws, just snug, not too tight. We don't want to strip out our hole, and not too loose that the little tabs don't hold properly. Alrighty. There is an extra screw included in your kit. Why? Because sometimes I lose things. And I figured if I lose things, you'll probably lose things too. So we thought, you know what, let's put an extra screw in there. That's why we give you more nails as well. Sometimes we lose things, sometimes we wreck things, and I want everybody to have a wonderful experience. So, all right, we've got our 4 tabs placed in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to swing those tabs off to the side so they're not overlapping that cutout, because we're gonna put some stuff in there and we need to make room. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a small amount of glue to the inside of the holes that are found on the side pieces on the bottom part of the memory box. If I take my popsicle stick, I could just get a little drip to go right inside of that hole there. Now, you've got some extra nails. What I would suggest is take one of your extra nails and just move that glue around inside that hole to make sure it makes contact with the entire inside of the hole. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna flip my project over. You wanna do this in a timely manner because we don't want all the glue that we just put in the other hole to drip out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing. I'm gonna take a little bit of glue on the end of my popsicle stick, take my nail, and go ahead and move that glue around inside the hole to cover the inside of that hole. All right, if I've got excess glue, it is a very good idea to wipe that away. We don't want our excess glue touching the outside of our hinge because that will cause the box to not open. Okay, so once I've done that, I can then take my top piece and I can put it right on top of the bottom and I'll flip it onto the side. This is the easiest way to align things. If I flip my box onto its side, I can then take one of my dowels, align the hinge hole with the inside hole that's on the side of our bottom piece there, and I can push that dowel right in there. Now, if you're finding that it's a little bit difficult to get that dowel in, you can take your hammer, and you need to be careful when you do this. You don't want to wail away at it. You can just lightly tap the dowel in. until you know it's all the way in. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the other side. I'll align it by looking through that hole. I can see the other hole in there. Take my hammer, a couple taps, there we go. So now we have our memory box top and bottom assembled, and it works. After our glue dries, and it takes about an hour for the glue really start to dry, we can sand out any imperfections and rough edges with the provided sandpaper. If you take a look at your project, you'll notice that we've got lines that are running through the wood. These lines are very special. These lines are actually called grain. If we take our sandpaper and we sand in the same direction of that grain, just like this, it will cause your project to look really nice. The reason being that as I sand with the sandpaper, it creates little scratches. Now, if I take my sandpaper and I scratch in the opposite direction or against the grain, against these lines, what will happen, those scratches will become very apparent. And you can see them right there. What we want to do is we want to make sure we hide the scratches that the sandpaper makes, and how we do that is sanding in the same direction of the grain. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand out any imperfections, sand off my edges, make this project look really nice. When I'm done, we can continue on with the project. Okay, it looks like that I've got my project looking really good. I'm just gonna get a couple more edges here inside. We need to install the felt pads that go on the bottom. We don't want our memory box scratching up the surface of our nice furniture that we might be storing it on. So included in your kit are 4 self-adhesive felt pads right here. Now, in order to install these in the right location, we've included a tape measure. Grab yourself a pencil and the included tape measure, and I want you to measure out the exact locations. So what we'll do is I will take my tape measure and I'll hook it onto the edge just like this. I like to lock my tape measure so I can have my hands free. And I'm going to go ahead and measure over exactly 1.5 inches, or approximately 38 millimeters. So I'll go ahead and I will take note of the 1.5 inch mark, and I will extend that line out like that. And then I can go ahead, I can flip my tape measure around, and I can do the same thing, just like this, all right? And so what we've got, or what we've created, is a plus sign or a crosshair, and that will allow us to know exactly where we want to put these felt pads. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to measure on over 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to do it again, creating my crosshair or my plus sign, and I'm going to do that at each individual corner. 1.5, 1.5. It's really important though that you don't have any dust sitting on top of on the bottom of the memory box, because that dust will prevent those pads from actually adhering. All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. I can take my self-adhesive felt pads, peel them off of the protective paper, and then stick them down. I'm gonna go ahead and place the remaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, push them down a little. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and install all the pieces to be able to hold our picture or our artwork inside of our memory box. The first thing we're gonna do is we're going to need our acrylic glass. Keep in mind, the acrylic glass has a protective film on both sides. Let's go ahead and peel that off. I'll get that one side off there, and then we'll go ahead. Now, once that's off, what we can do, open up our memory box, take the acrylic glass and just place it right inside. After you've done that, you've got some choices. Inside your project, you've been given some cardstock. This is a white piece of paper, a little thicker than normal. You can go ahead and put whatever artwork you'd like on this white cardstock. That can then be placed just behind that glass so that when you close it, you'll be able to see it. There are lots of options that you can go ahead and place inside that window. I'm gonna take a really nice picture of my 2 daughters, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that inside the window there. After I've done that, included in your kit, you'll see a piece of cardboard. That's gonna go inside there next. And that's just gonna give it a bit of cushion and also fill in the gap for when we secure everything with the frame hardware. Finally, I'm gonna take my hardboard. That's just a piece of wood that's gonna go slide in just behind all of those things there. And then we can take our frame hardware and swing those pieces just like that over top. And now everything will be contained. Now when I go ahead and close my box, you'll notice the picture looks wonderful. My memory box is complete. From everyone at Build It Yourself Woodworking, thank you so much for spending time with me to build your kit. If you enjoy building this woodworking kit and know somebody else that might enjoy building a woodworking kit too, visit us at www.buildityourself.com to see all of our great kits.